Joining us now is SABC News journalist Gillian Pillay. She has just come back from war-torn Syria. Gillian, good morning to you.
Good morning for you.
So, just tell me, when you were growing up wanting to be a journalist, was this what you thought you were signing up for?
I think every person at a young age wants to be in the field.
Yeah.
Wants to be among the most, frightening situations. So this was one of it.
Where you can hear the shelling and all of those things.
Yes,
What
I mean,
was
that's
that
the
like?
realness of journalism. We don't have much of that now. I mean, the 1976 type of journalism, that's what all journalists want,
What was that like?
There was a moment for you, you prepare yourself and then you think, okay, when a situation like this arises, what are you going to do? But when it really happens, fear totally consumes you.
Yeah.
You are overwhelmed with fear. When you feel the ground under you vibrating, the ceilings could be falling in, and you're alone in that moment, and I was in that moment alone. And you only hold on to your faith, and you pray that you could live to, to walk out of this building without any harm coming to you.
Where were you during that particular incident?
I was alone in the area where we were being accommodated, in the flat we were being accommodated, because I was ill. I was down with diarrhea, and I was advised to just go to the accommodation alone. We only have electricity for 2 hours, so I sat with a little lamp there, dozing in and out of sleep.
Electricity 2 hours a
Only
day?
2 hours a day, no cell phone reception, because you got to stand on the top of a roof or at a certain part in the hospital on the stairs to even just get an SMS or make a call. So I was totally isolated. I was alone. The other journalists were doing their stories. This was 11 o'clock at night. And then a series of shelling. And you just felt the ground vibrating. And it doesn't stop. It stops for a while, then it starts. It stops for a while. And all I did was I just prayed. And
the shells land where? Because I presume later on, once it quietened down, you wanted to have a look around.
With daytime, we then went close to the area when we used to eat, and one of the walls there, we saw one of the walls were damaged, and we saw some shrapnel.
Yeah.
You're lucky enough to see where the shelling took place, because it's hardly ever visible.
Sure. And the people there, how do they respond to it? I mean,
I think for them it's more like it's normal for them when something like that arises. They have maybe this built-in sense of safety within themselves, where it doesn't affect them that much anymore. It really only affects them when they bring those casualties into the hospital, when you see the true effects of what this conflict has done. I mean, maimed, deformed, those kinds of real physical scars, apart from the emotional scars.
Yeah. The hospital functions like a proper institution?
It's a fully functional hospital. It has theatres, it has a trauma unit. When we were there, this is what the more than 50 doctors did.
This is now from Gift of the Givers?
This is from Gift of the Givers,
And these are doctors from around South Africa?
It's doctors with various disciplines,
Yeah.
orthopedic, surgeons, trauma specialists, dentists.
Yeah.
So it's doctors in various disciplines that went there and just bolstered this small little facility, because it currently works on a very small scale with a very effective staff.
Does it align the effort of Gift of the Givers, the doctors, with other similar initiatives from other parts of the world? So once you had left, there was no vacuum, or once you had left...
What Gift of the Givers has done with this operation, they have basically supplied the hospital with a lot of supplies. They've trained the staff that will remain behind to maybe facilitate and do the kind of operations that they have done. The sad thing is, for you, that we know that Syrian people, they are like forgotten. Gift of the Givers are one of the only organizations that have responded. It's very difficult to get into Syria, as you know. It's very difficult to...
You guys were stuck in Jordan for a while?
We were stuck in, we were in Turkey, Antakya, Turkey.
Yeah.
I know there were reports that they weren't granted access. There were a lot of logistical problems in getting us into Syria initially.
Logistical vehicles, buses?
Logistical in terms of getting, not necessarily, yes, the supplies, one of it, and getting the people safely in, because on the day that we were supposed to go, there was a lot of shelling, and we were advised to pull back. And that was one of the reasons why we didn't go into Syria on the day that we were supposed to. And when it had subsided a little bit, we then moved in.
You talked a little bit about the experience at the hospital, people coming in and people with people maimed and that kind of stuff. I mean, that must be really difficult.
I think with all journalists, there's this sense of you try and distance yourself when you do a story like that. And it's when you put your head on the pillow that it really hits you. When you hear that shelling, all those stories, it can be me. I can be the one that's maimed. I can be the one that will walk out here, that will need some medical assistance. So yes, you are scarred.
Yeah.
You are
And
left.
there are children there among them as well.
Plenty of children for you. I mean, that is the sad thing. Children who don't make it.
Yeah.
The 10-year-old accidental gunshot victim. And the doctors tried, but helplessly.
Yeah. Did you feel a sense of helplessness broadly, just about ending the conflict? This is going to continue for a long time.
I think as a journalist, you feel that, have you done enough? Will people hear your stories and will they respond?
Yeah.
And when you leave, will it be a vacuum, as you say? So you always feel helpless that your stories has it helped these people that are in such dire need of humanitarian aid.
Impact of the visit for you, coming in there, doing the stories, the doctors from the Gift of the Givers, much needed relief, do you think?
Much needed relief. It's a pity it's only on a very small, short scale for you. I mean, a lot more still needs to be done. I would go back tomorrow if I could. Even if it's not to be a journalist, just to be a humanitarian worker. Yeah. Because that's what they need. And when we left, it's almost a sense of sadness that we're slipping back to where we were before you came. So a lot of help still.
Lots of humanitarian workers that you saw there?
From Gift of the Givers, yes, we know that the United Nations were there prior to Gift of the Givers. Yeah. But it's just the Gift of the Givers who have responded.
Just as we conclude the numbers, how many people have died? How bad is the situation there?
People die every day. The numbers, it's difficult to say at this stage what the death tally is at this stage, but it's tens of thousands we're talking about.
Terrible. Gillian, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us and share your experience. Gillian has travelled together with Gift of the Givers to Syria and sharing with us her experience there. This is Morning Live on SABC2. Final news bulletin is next. Stay with us.